Today I'm here in this rainstorm here at Shaler Honda here in New Britain, Connecticut. Come check them out. Huge thanks to them once again for this one. And today we're in the 2022 Honda Civic Hatchback. This is the beginning of the 11th generation here in 2022. A lot of changes going on, including now the Honda Civic Hatchback and the Civic Type R are both manufactured in the Indiana plant, following the closing of the one in the UK. And I was born in Indiana, so this car was born in Indiana. That's probably a good sign. We've got 4 trim levels this year. There's the LX, the Sport, the EXL, and the Sport Touring. Those go from about $23,000 at the bottom end up to $29.4 at the top end. We are in the top spec Sport Touring here. Taking a look from the outside, you can see some design changes, a lot of design changes here. They said they were going for a coupe-like look, which is kind of an interesting bit of wording for something with 4 doors, or 5 doors, sorry, 5 doors. You know, they lowered the roof line, they thinned out the A-pillars, did a lot of updates here to the design, and it looks pretty nice in this Sonic Gray color. As we close in on the wheels here, we're looking at 18s because it's the Sport trim, 18s on the Sport trim and the Sport Touring. Each trim level has its own wheels. Like I mentioned, this is the Sport Touring, so the Sport and Sport Touring are on 18s, the LX is on 16s, and the EXL is on 17s. I like these with the like the design here for sure. I think all 4 of the designs look pretty good here. We close in here on the mirrors. Since we're in the top spec Sport Touring, we have their new blind spot monitoring system and their cross traffic alert system. You do get the blind spot still on the EXL trim, but not on any of the lower trims, and you don't get the cross traffic on the EXL. Go up front, take a look around. Got this new design here, these sleek looking LED headlights. That's standard across the board. I went for this wide, thin look here. These wide set, thin LEDs to give it kind of an aggressive and sporty look. This honeycomb up here is specific to the hatchback version of the Civic. You will not find that on the sedan. And the fog lights down here are only available in the Sport Touring trim. You take a look under the hood. We got this familiar 1.5 liter turbocharged engine. It's the same one as we had last year, but they've changed around which engine goes with which spec this year. So the top 2 tiers here, the EXL and the Sport Touring, get this 1.5 liter turbo, 180 horsepower, 177 pound-feet of torque. You go down into the lower 2 trims, you get the 2 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, and that one produces 158 horsepower, 138 pound-feet of torque. Now, if you want the manual, that is still available, luckily, still paired with the Sport and Sport Touring trims, though this year, since the powertrain changed in the Sport trim, now you can get that manual with either engine, either the 2 liter or the 1.5 turbo. So that's an update for this year. This one, unfortunately, we are in the CVT. I would love to get a manual, but I know those are few and far between. We're looking at fuel economy right around 34 here, which is pretty solid. Actually, the EXL gets the best fuel economy at 35 combined. Not really sure why that is. And since we're in the Sport here, we do get a Sport mode that's only available in the Sport and the Sport Touring. And interestingly, it's only if you get the CVT. You can't actually get that if you get the manual. And it isn't in the EXL, which I would think that it would be with the turbo engine. but it's not. It's with the Sport and the Sport Touring, so it doesn't matter what engine you have as long as you're in one of those 2 trim levels. That's your throttle response, your steering feel. Adjust that a little bit. We'll go up into Sport here. Yeah, you can definitely feel that. All right, coming around to the back here. Again, these wide LEDs standard here. Got the exhaust with the chrome down here at the bottom, the dual exhaust system. And the hatch here, again, we're looking at a hatch that's not your traditional hatch. It looks a little more like a sedan than a traditional hatch, but it still has a class-leading 25.4 cubic feet of space back here. There is space for days. All right, we'll hop into the back real quick. Jumping back here into the back seats, they've increased both the legroom and the headroom. About 1.5 inches extra on the legroom. We're at just over 37 inches here and just over 37 inches on the headroom as well. Plenty of space, even though it is a compact. There is a lot of room here, definitely a lot more than the Mazda 3 and the Corolla. Jumping up front, we have these nice leather seats. These are the 8-way power adjustable seats, only available in the top 2 trims. Leather, also the top 2 trims. Heated as well up here in the Sport Touring trim. The cloth seats in the lower trims are not heated, unfortunately. No ventilation here, no heated steering wheel, but still certainly a comfortable place to be. These nice bolsters feel really good. Looking around, we got this honeycomb across here. Looks really good. The dials with this silver and black, really nice here. Infotainment, 10.2 inch color touchscreen on this one. Really smooth, really easy to use, nice big buttons. Sorry, this is the 9-inch screen, not the 10.2. It's 7 inches on the other trim levels. You can only get the 9-inch up here in the top trim. Gauge cluster up here, we're looking at the 10.2 inch digital display. If you're in any of the other trims, then you're looking at the 7-inch. That's basically the left half of the screen is digital on those. Really clean look to it. No, I'm an analog guy. I like the analog gauges. At least they did simulate the analog gauges here. There's not all kinds of crap everywhere. And we've got Android Auto, Apple CarPlay through this system. That is standard, but only in the Sport Touring do you have the wireless charging. That's a huge bonus right there. But the fact that you can get Android Auto, Apple CarPlay standard is also definitely huge. Nowadays, I think everything should come standard with Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. I don't think I could live without it anymore at this point. And you'll notice we got real dials, buttons, touchscreen, dials and hard buttons for the climate control down here. They really went for intuitive design here. That's what they're calling this. That's what they're saying. Honda is saying they wanted to go for an intuitive design, which is probably because they still haven't quite lived down those climate control sliders and the volume sliders that they used to have. But this here it's really a good system. It works great. It's easy to use. Love it. With the cup holders, nice carbon fiber look to it. The design around the cabin is really modern. It looks really nice. Nice leather wrapped steering wheel too. That's not available in the bottom trim, but you do have it up in the upper trims. Leather wrapped shift knob as well. You do have an electronic parking brake. That is standard. That was the same last year as well. They made some adjustments to the suspension for handling and to smooth out the ride, as well as reductions in engine vibration. Really smooth, really quiet things down in the cabin. It's a little bit hard to tell today because it's pouring down rain, but overall it does seem like it's probably pretty quiet outside of the rain. I'm not hearing a lot of engine noise. I'm not hearing a lot of road noise, even with the wet, even though we've got the biggest tires possible on here. It's still not too bad. It's pretty smooth in here, pretty quiet overall. One thing I forgot to mention, actually, in the hatch, they widened the opening there a little bit by about 1.5 inches to make it easier to get some stuff into there. This does have the auto start stop. You can disable it. It's got a good response to it. I mean, I'm in sport mode here. It responds well. We do have paddle shifters up here. Let's see if that does anything. It's simulated, obviously. It's a CVT. Paddle shifters. There are no gears. Not sure why that's the trend these days. Yeah, it lets you rev it out too. Interesting. Responds nicely. Even though it's not obviously not changing gears, it's just a CVT, but responds pretty well. Got the new Honda Sense safety tech, all the updated tech. We've got a new airbag system. The passenger airbag cradles your neck. That's cool. We've got the updated Bose system in this one. Or we've got the Bose system. The first time the Civic has had the Bose system. It's a 12-speaker audio. That's only in the Sport Touring trim level though. Then you can get the 4-speaker in the LX, or you can get the 8-speaker in the other 2 trims. But the Bose system is only in the Sport Touring. They worked on the communication too. With the steering, it feels pretty communicative. Obviously, still electric, but decently communicative here. Handles nicely. Smooth, comfortable place to ride. You got the bumps, but we're not. It's not Acura. It's Honda, but it's definitely smoothed out for sure. It was a great car. I'd love to find one in a manual. I would have no problem living with one of these things every single day. I would definitely get the manual personally, but they've really modernized this cabin. It looks really nice. It feels really nice. It's comfortable. The infotainment update is huge. I did not like that old infotainment system with all the red and the little thin lines going everywhere, but this updated system is great. Wireless charging. I mean, this is a premium place to be, and I could have some fun daily driving this for sure. Plus the usability of the hatchback. So there you have it. That is the new 2022 Honda Civic Hatchback. This is a Sport Touring trim, as I mentioned. $29.4 thousand is the MSRP on this one. I have no complaints in here. Love it. Thanks again to Shaler Honda here in New Britain, Connecticut. Come check them out. If you have a car for me, Jason at manual-cars.com. If you have a manual, one of these, I'd love to check that out. Doesn't have to be a manual. Whatever your car is, let me know. And thanks again for watching. I will see you next time.